Back to Grab Your Brew, the podcast where the tea is hot, the humour is dark, and sometimes the kettle whistles all on its own. Tonight we are picking up where we left off last week, with more haunted objects from South and Central Asia, the Middle East, and North Africa.
Then we're wandering through Britain's second-hand shops of, and here's my favourite word, doom. I love that word. I have to fit it in everywhere. I love it. This isn't about castles, it's haunted clutter. So grab your brew, maybe a crucifix if you're that way inclined, or at least the Febreze. And if your bar screams at you, it's either cursed or it came from Dorset. Love a bit of Febreze.
Febreze it away.
And apologies for my camera. You can't see my eyes today.
Now, the Dalai Purple Sapphire, which topped off, it isn't even a sapphire. So it's not a sapphire, but it's called the Dalai Purple Sapphire. Anyway, strong start is an amethyst, looted during the 1857 Indian uprising.
Yeah, Edward Heron Allen, he ended up with it, and he was convinced that it was cursed. He blamed it for every illness, his career flops, and any unlucky event basically in his social circle. A singer actually borrowed it from him, and she lost her voice permanently. One man's family fell into ruin. Yeah. And he begged to give it back. And another borrower fell ill and bankrupt until he returned it.
Here's the regal cherry on top. Queen Victoria reportedly said it was unlucky. When your monarch looks at a gemstone and goes, no thanks, bad vibes, you know it's dodgy.
Oh, definitely. Heron Allen, he got so paranoid he actually sealed it in, get this, 7 locked boxes. 7 with a warning letter. And before that, he claimed he threw it into the Regent's Canal, only for it to be dredged up and returned twice. The amethyst basically refused eviction. Twice, yeah.
Today it sits in the National History Museum, displayed alongside that deliciously over-the-top letter. Imagine donating something saying, here, please take this. But if it kills you and your staff, it's on you. It's on you.
Yeah. Rumour has it that Edward actually fabricated the amethyst curse in order to promote a short story called The Purple Sapphire. He wrote it in 1921, but we don't really know. There's no evidence of this because it affected other people who also reported their situations.
Could that have been psychosomatic, though?
Maybe it was more like group hysteria, maybe. We've talked about this in one of our other episodes, the power of suggestion, basically. Some people are more prone to, being biddable and bendable mentally. Right. If you had a cursed object, would you donate it to a museum or just yeet it into the nearest canal?
Well, we know yeeting doesn't happen, so I would donate to the museum. Probably the Haunted Museum, because they would probably know how to contain it more than an average museum.
Yeah.
And then there's a black olive from the so-called Brahma. 67 carats of bad news.
Ooh. Legend says it was stolen from a Brahma idol in India, and then in the 20th century, it apparently claimed 3 owners by suicide. 2 Russian princesses and a New York dealer named J.W. Paris. He jumped from a skyscraper after trying to sell it. Ooh. So that clearly liked him and didn't want to go anywhere. It's like, no, I'm not done with you.
Mm. Or maybe he couldn't sell it. I mean, let's look at it from a logical point. Maybe the Russian princess was just suicidal because princesses were treated like shit back in the day. And the New York dealer owed some money to somebody and they were going to be killed either way. So they decided, oh, I can't sell it in time, so I'm just going to jump.
True. That could be the logical.
Sorry.
Look at you going all logical.
Later, a jeweler decided to cut it into 3 pieces to break the curse.
Oh dear.
Everybody knows you shouldn't break these items because you just unleash whatever's in there, which is a very bold choice. Like saying, these cheesecakes are poison, let's slice them up so everybody only gets a little dose of poison.
Oh no, that's just mad. It still pops up at exhibitions though. It's glittery and beautiful. It carries the whispers of those unlucky owners. Cursed rock and a pretty frock. Look at me showing me age.
Yeah.
Frock.
Probably just haunted
I
from
like
the
frock.
dramaticness of how it's gone around. Pretty rock and a pretty frock. Would you risk wearing a cursed diamond if it guaranteed you looked like killer at every party? Legitimately killer.
Yeah. I'd wait for my 40th.
See, I'm okay just showing up in PJs at this point in my life. Off to the British Museum next, and one of their most notorious objects, the so-called unlucky mummy, which again, rolling theme, isn't actually a mummy at all. It's just a decorated lid of a coffin. So from around 950 BC.
From the 19th century onwards, newspapers went completely wild. They said it brought bad luck. Explorers, journalists, tourists, anyone who got too close supposedly suffered accidents. The press started calling it the Gemstone Egyptian relic.
And here's a juicy myth. That unlucky mummy was on board the Titanic. Spoiler, the British Museum did confirm it never left their collection until 1990s. But just because a journalist named W.T. Stead, who'd written about it, was on the Titanic and died, the stories were kind of fused together.
So the real coffin lid actually stayed put, but its reputation just floated all the way across the Atlantic. It's people love a good story though, don't they? There's normally a grain of truth, and then people run with it. It's like that game Chinese Whispers, isn't it?
Yeah, which is crazy because in America, when I mentioned that game, they said it was racist. In America, it's called Telephone.
All right, okay.
Yeah. Which is weird because you grow up learning certain things and you don't realise that it's offensive to anybody because nobody ever said anything to me.
No.
Visitors today still swear it feels oppressive, heavy, or radiates nothing but bad energy, which is ironic because museums already give off that feel like when you walk into the gift shop for sure. Since we're all up in the museum land, it's worth noting this isn't unique. All over the Middle East and North Africa, stolen or looted relics pick up curses, reputations, amulets, mummies, sacred statues. But they all end up branded unlucky the minute that they leave their homeland, which is crazy because it's like, why? Of course it's going to be cursed. You guys basically rob graves for this stuff in museums, let's face it.
Yeah, which makes sense really. If someone dug me up and carted me off to London, I'd want the hell out of them. I just would.
Yeah.
Would. Yeah. Next, we're keeping things local to me. With haunted objects across the UK, we've got paintings that sob, skulls that shriek, jewels that ruin lives, and museums stuffed with things you should definitely not lick. Now, you shouldn't have to tell people to not lick things, but alas, Here
We're
we
just
are.
putting it there because, yes. Disclaimer, don't lick objects. So basically a shopping list for anyone decorating a haunted Airbnb.
Right. Quick warm up. If you had to keep one cursed object in your bedroom, what would it be?
Do I have to keep a cursed object in my
Yes.
bedroom? Oh
Just one.
gosh.
It could be anything.
Oh, bananas and pajamas, I don't know.
Not in 10 years.
I don't know. I think because the car wouldn't fit in my bedroom. Oh, one that a ghost is attached to, so at least I would have conversation.
Yeah, I think I'd want a really chatty ghost. Something
Yeah,
that's
that can pick their brain about stuff that happened in their lifetime.
something that's like a walking encyclopedia, so that I don't have to Google, do penguins have knees at like 3 o'clock in the morning
Yeah,
like I do.
which they do if
Yeah.
anybody needed to know.
They do. They're basically got skinny little legs, and then they've got the flubber lubber skirt to keep them warm.
Oh. First up is a painting from Cumbria that basically doubles as depression on canvas. It's called that. First up is a painting from Cumbria. It's basically doubles as depression on a canvas. It's called The Anguished Man, and trust me, this makes Edward Munch's Scream look like a Hallmark card.
Sean Robinson inherited the painting from his grandmother, and we'll put a picture up because it is terrifying. She kept it locked in her attic for 50 years under moth-eaten blankets, right? Her warning was simply, never hang it on the wall. Spoiler, Sean did indeed hang it on the wall, and that's when the house began to weep. Like literally, weep. Sean's wife described the sound of muffled crying coming from the room where the painting hung. At night, Sean woke to find a tall, faceless figure standing at the end of his bed. When the light switched on, gone.
I think they would have taken it off the wall by then. The painting itself refuses to stay in place, carefully secured yet found face down in the middle of the room, as if it had leaped forward in protest. Guests complained of crushing headaches and the sense of dread. Guess what? If your nana leaves a note saying don't hang, don't fucking hang.
I know, what's with people? It's like, come on, Granny warned you. She warned you.
Yeah, she
I mean,
warned you,
what more do you
clearly
want?
warned you.
Yeah. One of the friends, when they were staying over, dreamt of a man without eyes trapped in the doorway,
Oh, God.
only to wake up and find the painting had tilted on the wall. Pets avoided the room entirely, so that's the bit that I find suspicious. I've had many a painting tilt on a wall. It can happen. And Sean's cat would hiss at the corner, but never actually enter the room. He tried filming the phenomena. His YouTube clips show knocking, doors closing, shadows sliding across the walls. One visitor actually swore she woke to a wet, choking whisper in her ear. Blah, blah, blah. Another family friend who borrowed the painting. I mean, why would you borrow the painting? They borrowed it for a week and then returned it early, saying his dog wouldn't stop growling and his house smelled of iron.
Blood. People want to borrow it just to prove stuff. There's only a certain level of I'm willing to prove. I've got one hair that's annoying me. Sorry. People are always just trying to prove that the person's crazy instead. Like, I don't want to tempt fate. I don't. Sean's grandmother had told him that the artist mixes own blood into the painting itself, which explains a lot because not long after the painting, he took his own life. It doesn't just sit there, Sean warns. It waits.
That's not art. That's the devil's GCSE project.
Yeah. Honestly, if a painting flung itself off my wall, I'd just blame IKEA brackets. Like, I probably won't put it back
Or,
up either if it flung off the wall.
or it could be gravity, nature's poltergeist.
Yeah, that too. That
Mm.
too. Why do paintings creep us out more than, say, a haunted chair?
Faces, isn't it? It's the whole eye contact, and then obviously the rumours that pigment can hold a person the way hair or teeth can. You know, it's the same with photographs, isn't it? People used to believe that taking a photograph would capture a piece of your soul.
Yeah, yeah. And I think I've told you this before. Like, paintings creep me out when people get their hands right. Because hands are so hard to do. And hands tell you no matter how much plastic surgery you've had in your life, your hands will always say who you really are. Plus, painting's cracked and aged, wrinkles. It's like watching a room. Remember, to listeners, would you hang it in your living room? Like this painting, would you hang it in your living room or stick it straight on eBay with slightly haunted no returns? I'd be slightly haunted no returns.
Yeah, yeah. My cursed artwork would be titled "Woman Without Book and Coffee." Stop, Dorset, England. Famous for fossils, cream tea, and one skull that refuses to shut up. Yeah. Legend begins in the 1600s, so here's that word I hate. A servant, said to be from the West Indies, begged on his deathbed, bury me in my homeland. His master ignored him, laying him, I think it was Bettiscombe churchyard instead. Bettiscombe, yeah.
Disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
From that night, the manor shook with wails. Windows rattled, dogs howled in the dark. When the coffin was dug up, villagers swore. A scream split so loudly that the panes cracked across the valley.
Each time the skull was moved, calamity followed. Been waiting to use that. Calamity. A farmer
Calamity.
collapsed and died. Yeah, losing my earpiece. Farmer collapsed and died carrying it. A priest who mocked it broke his leg and never healed properly. And once after a burial attempt, the manor roof collapsed in a storm.
Horses also refused to pass the house. A maid swore the skull watched her as she cleaned. Guests described groaning, the air pressing heavy on their chest. Maybe this is the haunted object I would have.
If it could talk to me.
If it could talk to
Rather
me.
than just scream.
Yeah. Yeah, if it didn't just scream, if we had conversations. Maybe it just screamed because people weren't addressing it with respect.
Maybe. By the 19th century, Bettiscombe was known as the House of the Screaming Skull. Folklorists claimed storms were always answered by the skull howling.
One version says that if you covered the skull with a cloth, the house itself would shake until you uncovered it again. Another tale tells of a prankster who hid the skull only to fall ill and die within weeks. Said, "You're joining me, sonny."
In 1963, scientists examined it and declared it was not an African man at all, but the skull of a young European woman. Yet locals shrugged and said, science may name the bones, but the house still screams when you move it.
Why don't they just bury it where it was supposed to be buried? Wouldn't this have ended all of this? So basically,
Well, it
don't
wasn't the man.
relocate.
Yeah, it turned
So where
out
was the
that
man?
I don't know if anybody actually knows, but it turns out it was the skull of a young European woman.
Well, I mean, young European women were servants back in those days too.
I mean,
Especially if
well,
you didn't have
anyone
a
could.
family.
Families that were born like ours had been servants. It's not just
Yeah.
where you're from. If you're born to a
Or
low
even
income family, you'd
especially
be.
single women that didn't have or husband or parents to take care of them.
Oh,
That's the only
yeah.
way they could survive.
Yeah. But yeah,
Either
basically,
that
they
or become a
liked the
harlot.
story. Yeah. You know, they pointed out that the house still screams.
So basically, don't redecorate or your curtains will shriek back at you.
It's better than most landlords. At least the school gives a warning before the roof caves in.
if your skull haunted someone, what would you scream about?
Lack of caffeine, not enough books. How about you?
Probably lack of caffeine and the fact that I have nowhere for the caffeine to go. Just put me in a jar full of caffeine.
Suck
You
my
know, like the
bones.
old. Yes. Yes.
Out of a specimen jar, just put me in a coffee pot.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like the old jars that scientists used to that they use in horror movies, where they have like an animal or something. And it just put my skull in there with coffee, Colombian preferably, dark roast.
Right, Wales. I love Wales, and I want to visit this one. Have to go and see this one. It isn't that far.
I'll meet
Rotans.
you
I
in
think
Wales.
it's either Rotans or Rotans. Apologies, but they collect artifacts that no one else will keep. So a witch bottle filled with pins and hair was donated by a family plagued with scratching in the walls. Once it left, noises stopped. Another donor swore their doll moved from room to room. Once they found it at the foot of the bed, head tilted, waiting.
Staff describe footsteps in empty corridors, alarms tripping on sealed cases, and guests suddenly bursting into tears. The owners pretty much just shrugged, like, not all of our artifacts are just wooden fabric. Imagine donating your problems, like, sorry, doll haunts me. Here's a tenner for the collection box.
Community spirit or community exorcism. Would you donate? I couldn't resist. So, would you donate your cursed item to a museum or just sneak it into your ex's loft?
I don't know. I don't think there's any item. I would feel sorry for the cursed item.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that one.
My exes are far worse than any cursed item I've come across.
Museum
Next.
at least could make something interesting.
Yeah, there we go. I feel like the curse or the ghost, whatever haunts it, would come at me tenfold for leaving them with my ex. Like, how dare you? We didn't deserve this.
Take me back, bitch. Sorry.
That's what they said too. Next, the Great Bed of Ware was said to curse commoners who slept in it. People claim to be scratched or suffocated. Very common signs that something's wrong. The bedposts still show marks. Shakespeare even drops it in the 12th Night. Would you risk one night in it for a free premiere in breakfast?
Depends if the ghosts make toast.
What if the ghost is like Casper, though? Game time. Keep cleanses or chuck it. First up, charity shop doll with glasses.
Cleanse it, salt circle, sage, maybe draw eyelids on it.
Pub mirror that photobomb selfies.
Keep. I want the content.
Yeah. Victorian mourning brooch with human hair.
Keep. Fine jewellery is fine jewellery.
A teapot that whistles at 3 a.m. with no heat on.
Chuck. Into the canal.
Careful, things come back from the canal.
Wrap-up time.
That's what she said. Favourite cursed objects tonight. What's your favourite cursed objects tonight? The skull.
Yeah, it screams louder than me on deadline week. Yeah, how about you?
I want to say the skull too. We're until yes. We went to the Museum of Curiosities in Nottingham, where Bridget Jones' Diary was recorded, just putting that out there, to see reported haunted objects for ourselves, up close and personal.
I held a haunted skull. I held a haunted skull named Elizabeth. I couldn't resist it.
Well, that's it from us today, guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to please like and subscribe, or I might send one of these haunted objects as a gift to your house.
Yeah. Also, if you have anything you would like us to deep dive or react videos, comment below or email us at grabyourbrew@gmail.com.
Thank you so much, guys. Have an amazing week. Bye.